Finally, I've started rewarding him for colliding with money when both hydration and hunger are satisfied. The code looks exactly the same as others, except I do it for the dollars. So inside the environment, I've got money laying on the floor, but I had never rewarded him for colliding with them because I thought I'm not ready for it, and I think now is the it's good time for me to experiment with it. So I did that, and also to do that, I've added nearest relative positions to dollars as inputs to my neural network, and yeah, so now my AI should aim for dollars, although I haven't really been observing him doing that, but yeah. And like I said in the previous video, I've reduced number of inputs to my neural network by only using nearest relative positions to the items like this. And so unfortunately, I've just started training my AI, so unfortunately I can't show you the result, but it has really been successful that he can survive for 2 months with only these inputs. So I've been sticking with this, and yeah, I'm really grateful because the number of inputs has been decreased significantly. So yeah, and also so in machine learning there are two phases: training and test. And I've never the test never the test always failed, but somehow I guess due to a reduced number of inputs using only nearest relative positions, the test that the AI also has started surviving 2 months on test as well. So not only training, not on train, and not only on train. So which I need to record and post as a video later. And also, this is really absurd, but I've tried to remove all these relative positions, and I tried it and it didn't work. So seems like the AI or neural network needs some kind of positions related information at least to like when you're trying to make AI colliding with some objects, in my case water and food. The reason I tried that is these features are not really used except just getting recomputed. So for instance, whenever AI gets closer to these items, he gets rewarded, and but this system doesn't really use any of feature fed to the neural network. So for instance, I used previous distance to water, which gets computed here, and which use this position, and this is just a member variable inside the mesh class. This is nothing to do with neural network. This never uh, goes. This never been. This wouldn't be used as inputs to neural network. So I thought if it's not really been used to uh, to reward, you use it as a reward system, I thought these are not really like necessarily, but seems like the neural network or AI somehow uses these information to reach or collide with these items. So yeah, that didn't work. So you have to at least have some information about positions. So in machine learning, there are two phases: train and test. And my AI can survive for 2 months on train, but now he can also survive on test. And I guess that's due to a decreased number of inputs, only using nearest relative position. And this was pretty surprising because it never worked on the test, which I'd like to show you in post as a video later. And so for that reason, I was never really bothered with fixing code related to test, but now it's working, so I made some fix to the code related to the test, and one of them is so I need to switch to test phase from train phase, and I used to switch to test based on number of episode. So like for instance, after 20 episode I switch to test and so on. And it seems like this is not like standard and not really common. So, and the right way to go about is to transition based on total training step size. I mean, or like, so you define like number total steps he can like experiment in whole training, and after after that step size you switch to test phase. Because, and the reason I need to do this is each episode has different step size. So for instance, you ran 10 episodes and on average the step size was small, but you decided you going to switch to test phase after episode after 10 episodes, but each episodes are small, even you accumulate with 10 times. That's like he hasn't been trained enough, or like this is like underfitting. So, and same goes for opposite thing. It may introduce him to overfitting. So anyways, transitioning to the test phase based on total step size is the more correct way to go about. And also, when transitioning to the test phase, I'm also need to reset the episode count. So whenever the test phase starts, it needs to start from episode one, which I was not doing like that. So, and also I need to reset moving average to 0, because the test is test. The moving average from train is irrelevant. So yeah. And this is also trivial, but I no longer use like floating. Like I only use less precision for like hydration and hunger and other metrics. I used to use like floating numbers, but now I just use like integers. I don't know how this gonna go, but yeah, for now this feels fine. So yeah, and so whenever I render these matrix, I use this function, and I did some cleanups by using this STD format so that I don't really need to use this. So I used to use W string, but if I use these format function, I don't really need to use it. So, and yeah, it looks much cleaner. So, and this is related to the getters and setters, which so whenever I create this window, I need to pass this handle inside the window to device manager, but I used to have getters to retrieve this handle, but yeah, so and also this this used to be a class, not a struct, but I changed to struct so that I don't really need to write this public and private things like keyword. I mean, so struct is by default. So everything inside a struct is by default public, and so I don't really need to use this public keyword. And so, and also, by removing this getters for this handle, I don't know, I feel like it's much cleaner. And like if I was making a library for someone to use, I may like having getters and setters might be useful to avoid users from changing some states. But this is like I'm working on an application, and this is not a library. No one's going to touch my code. I may mistakenly change this state, but I don't think that would happen often. And so yeah, I just removed these getters and setters, all these. Like I haven't. So I also have. Yes, I also have other getters here to get epsilon. I'm planning to make all the class to structs, and remove all these getters, but I'm still experimenting with this, and so far I have any trouble without using getters and setters. So, and inside the device manager, I also have these getters, and this looks just so ugly. So yeah, I think I'm going to remove all these getters. And also for so I've got this get weather function, and inside that I used to have this enum called season to assign an integer based on which month the environment has. But I just realized I don't really need these switch statement, and just use this just modding month with 12 and just divide by 3. So yeah, this is much cleaner. So yeah, I think this is it for today's video, and yeah, thanks.